Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. In the past few weeks, in previous episodes about New Year's resolutions, you've heard me talk about how tracking your fitness progress can help to keep you motivated and set realistic and specific fitness goals. But what's the best way to actually track your fitness? Should you see how fast you can run a mile, how many push-ups or sit-ups you can do, how much you weigh? Well, in this episode, I'm going to tell you the best tests you can do to track your fitness progress. And I'll tell you how to test your endurance, your strength, your weight, your body fat, and your movement skills. You should try to perform each of the tests that I'm about to describe to you about every 4 weeks or at the beginning or the end of every month. So we'll begin with how to test your endurance. In the episode, What is the Fat Burning Zone?, you learn how to determine your maximum fat-burning heart rate zone with a simple bicycle test. That same test can be used to keep track of your endurance, and since it does involve sprinting and impact, it can be used even if you have something like knee pain or low back pain. So here are the instructions for testing your endurance. Number 1, warm up on a bike for 10 minutes, preferably an indoor bicycle because it's in a controlled condition. Number 2, pedal at your maximum sustainable pace for 20 minutes at a rate of about 80 to 90 RPM. Make sure you keep that RPM constant every time you repeat this test too. You should be breathing hard and your legs should be burning, but you should be able to maintain the same RPM and the same intensity for the full 20 minutes. If your legs begin to get rubbery and you begin to slow down, then you're probably pushing yourself too hard on this test. Next, record your average heart rate during those 20 minutes, which means you'll need to be wearing a heart rate monitor or holding onto the handles of the bike that you're using if it takes heart rate. If the bike shows power on the screen, typically as watts, or speed, you need to also record those variables. At the end of the test, write down your average heart rate and, if available, your speed and your power. Each month, your speed and your power should increase while your average heart rate remains about the same, which indicates that your muscles and your heart can do more work more efficiently over a long period of time. For an extra test of your cardiovascular health, record your heart rate exactly 60 seconds after you finish the test, and you should see that heart rate decrease each month, indicating that you're recovering more quickly. Now, if you find this endurance test to be too long or a bit too much for you, here's one that is more simple, a 3-minute step test. Here's how to do it. Using a 12-inch bench and music or a metronome set at about 90 to 100 beats per minute, simply step up, up, and down, down in time to the music for 3 minutes. Record your heart rate immediately after those 3 minutes and then 1 minute after. Both of those heart rates should decrease each month, indicating that you're recovering more quickly. Next, here's how to test your strength. While a 1 repetition maximum bench press, or what's called a 1 RM max, is a common method to measure strength, it can easily result in injury for the general fitness population, or if you're just getting started. For most people except experienced athletes, a single maximum push-up and maximum squat test will work just fine to test your strength. For the push-up test, if you have difficulty performing a single push-up, then you should do a knee push-up. The instructions are simple. You just lower your chest all the way to the ground, then push yourself back up, and you record the maximum number of push-ups you can do in 1 minute. For the squat test, you can place your hands behind your head or extend them out in front of your body as you sit into a bodyweight squat. Just make sure you do it the same way each time you test. Keep your back straight, your butt out, and your knees behind your toes. Record the maximum number of squats you can do in 1 minute. If you have difficulty with this exercise, then you can watch the video at How to Squat Safely, and I'll link to that in the show notes. Next, here's how to test your weight and your body fat. In the episode How to Measure Body Fat, I did teach several methods to test body fat like DEXA, hydrostatic weighing, and a bod pod, but unfortunately these tests can be expensive if you're planning on repeating them each month. So for this reason, it's best to simply use a body fat scale or a handheld body fat measurement device, both of which use a method called bioelectrical impedance to measure your body fat. While this method is not the most accurate, it is easily repeatable in the comfort of your own home, and you simply need to ensure that you test yourself in a similar state of hydration and at a similar time of day as your previous test. If you use a body fat scale, it will also record your weight. Now, I'll be sure to link to a body fat scale in the show notes, but you should be able to get a basic body fat measuring scale that will also measure your weight for about $30 to $50. Because these body fat tests are short and simple to perform, you can repeat them each week rather than each month. But just remember, if you're doing them frequently, you may experience weeks during which your fitness significantly improves, but your body fat doesn't change. And that's normal and not something to really fret about. If you have someone to help you, you can also perform a waist and hip circumference test, in which you measure the narrowest part of your waist and the widest part of your hips, or your butt. You can then keep track of your waist to hip ratio by dividing the waist number by the hip number. A waist to hip ratio of 0.7 for women and 0.9 for men has been shown to correlate strongly with general health and also looking good, so this is a good number to track. Next comes testing your movement skills, which are very important, especially when it comes to sports performance, reducing risk of injury, and moving with more grace and ease. So there are 5 important movements that you should be able to perform with general proficiency. And I'm going to link to a video of each of these in the show notes over at getfitguy.quickanddirtytips.com. The 5 important movements are 1. A deep squat. 2. An inline lunge. 3. A hurdle step. 4. Seated rotation. And 5. A straight leg raise. Now, among physical therapists and exercise scientists, these 5 movements are known as a functional movement screen, and I'll also link in the show notes to a functional movement screen video that shows you how to perform and score yourself on each movement, and a link to an actual scoring sheet. Using all of these variables that I just went over, you can easily keep track of your endurance, strength, weight, body fat, and movement skills on a monthly chart, a blog, a computer document, or a notebook. By tracking these numbers, you keep yourself motivated, and you also learn whether what you're doing is actually working. Now, if you have more questions about how to track your fitness progress or your own tips about how to track your fitness progress, share them in the comments over at getfitguy.quickanddirtytips.com or on the Get Fit Guy Facebook page at facebook.com/getfitguy. So until next time, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.